Hello, I'm Evan Donovan, City Vision University's Vice President of Academic Administration. And in this video, I'm going to be giving you a brief overview of how to use Canvas while you're teaching at City Vision. First, I want to show you how to log into your courses. You can log into your courses from the main www.cityvision.edu website by clicking on the Canvas login link that we have at the top of the page. From that login screen, you can put in the username and the password that you set when you first became a faculty member with us. So I'll put that in. All right, this is my example faculty, and that takes me to the Canvas dashboard. This shows any classes in which I'm currently enrolled, either as a student or as a teacher. You can see in small text below the course name what term it's in, if there is a term associated with it. That way you can see if it's one of the courses that you have that's currently going on, or if it's one for an upcoming term. On the far right-hand side of this page, under the to-do, you can also see any items that need to be graded for the faculty, for the students that you have in your course. This could be useful, especially if you're teaching multiple courses at the same time and you can just go in for all of them. So then what you can do is you can click on the name of the course and you'll be taken to the course homepage. From there, you can see the content and assignments for each week of the course. This one that I'm in right now is the faculty training course, which you'll want to complete the first 2 lessons of before the beginning of courses. Now, the other course that I wanted to demonstrate in is this course, the faculty grading demo course. This one looks currently a little bit more like our regular courses do. And each of the courses that you are going to be teaching will be 8 weeks in length. And if you open up the first lesson, that also has at the beginning course introduction information. For example, under the course resources section, there could be any final project templates that your students will be using. So that'd be one thing you want to be familiar with. The writing format and form requirements page is something that you'll have been trained on in the faculty orientation. You should use the format for whatever department that the course is in. That should be stated in assignments. So you should grade people according to that. And then the required live Zoom meetings in this course page lists the live video sessions for the course. Make sure that those are on your calendar so you can be present for those. So the rest of the weeks in the course, they're not going to have this first section. They will generally have a lesson materials section that will include both a read and a watch section. The read section will have both readings from a textbook, if there's a textbook in the course, and often online based readings as well. And the watch section will have relevant videos and sometimes audio also. Finally, then, in each week, there are usually both discussions and assignments. We're going to get into the details on those a little more when we cover how you can comment in discussions and how you can grade both assignments and discussions. There are also, in some courses, non-proctored quizzes and proctored exams, but typically you will not need to grade these since the answers would be true or false or multiple choice, and so they just get graded automatically. Note also here in the course sidebar, there's a syllabus tab. You can go into this and the syllabus will show information on the instructor, your responsibilities in the course, just a brief description of the course, and what are the outcomes, the things that people should learn about from the course, and if there's any required textbooks. So this is information that is helpful to the students, but it can also be helpful to you as well, just to know what you are teaching toward in the course. And now the first topic that I wanted to show to you is on the discussions. There are two ways in which to get to the discussions. Either you can go from the home tab and you can click into a discussion, or you can go to the discussions from the discussion tab. And in week one, there's typically an introduction discussion, and it'll have an introductory question and then sometimes some additional questions as well. And then in the comments, you can see people comment and give a brief introduction about themselves. Students can also record a video for the personal introduction part of this lesson. That's something that is new now that we have the Canvas learning management system. However, if there's additional questions besides the personal introduction, they would need to reply in text to those so you can review their responses more easily. For example, in a course where there's a final project and they're partnering with an organization, you might need to know the name of that organization and be able to refer back to that here. So that's why I put that in. And in all of our discussions, one of the key requirements is that the initial post should be 400 words, and the student should submit that by Thursday. And then the students will post a 200-word at least response by the end of Sunday coming into the next week. And if you're going to comment, which you should do to have faculty engagement in the discussions, you have a public comment, you click on reply. Now that's something that, bear in mind, this is going to be public. So if you're going to give your more constructive criticism relative to the grade people are getting on a discussion forum, it's not something you would do here. This is more engaging with them, at least in the introduction, on the personal level, and in ones that are on the subject matter of the course, it would be on engaging with the substance of what they posted so that other students can learn from that and learn from your expertise. Now, going back to the home tab, the next thing that I wanted to get into with is the grading aspect, which is the most important things that you can do, obviously, within your courses, is to grade your assignments on time. And the to-do list over here on the right is really a tool that's intended to help make that simpler. And one of the primary reasons why we have moved to the Canvas system, since this is going to be a list that you can just go through like a checklist, and you can jump to do any grading that is pending that you need to do, whether it's for this week, whether it's previous week, someone doing a late assignment. You don't have to have as much trouble to keep track of that. It'll just show it right here. You only have a list of the students that you need to grade and no other students from other people. That's the intent of how we're going to get it to work. Now, if someone is showing up and you don't think they're in your section, let us know at support@cityvision.edu and we can try to work that out. Bear in mind, there is also a grades tab in Canvas, but the grades tab is really just for reviewing the grades that have already been put in for people. It's not something in which you can put in the grades, because you just be putting in a number unless you click over here on this, and it's just not a very usable way to grade things. There's this tool called SpeedGrader, which is connected to the to-do list, and that will get you a view of whatever it is that they actually submitted, whether that be a discussion or an assignment. I did want to note on here, there's these different statuses of late, missing, and excused. Don't use the excused setting. I don't think the missing setting is going to be necessary either. The one that you would want to use is late if things are late, and then you give them a grade according to the late policy, which we will talk about in our other training on policies and procedures. So there's another video on that aspect. But again, as I was saying, the SpeedGrader is how You want to be grading people so you can give it detailed feedback that we need, the substantive interaction. And the best way to get to that is going to be through this to-do list that you can see on the home tab of the course. So first, I wanted to show you on grading a discussion. So here's that introduction discussion again. I can just click into that and it's going to open up a new tab straight into the SpeedGrader. And I can see here, this is a post from someone. If I wanted to see this post in the context of the full discussion, I can click and I can see here's the prompt, and I can scroll down and I could see this was their post. But initially, it just shows you what they said. It doesn't show you the replies. It doesn't show the prompt. Now, when you're grading anything, generally, at least if there's a rubric that shows on the page, this little table down here, you want to grade according to the rubric. And so you click on View Rubric to unlock that so that you can fill it out. And then we could say that the post quality meets the criteria. If it says see longer description, you're going to have to click there to see what the information is on that. And then I could go through. And this is just a way to fill that out. And it's going to, by default, always give you the highest rating on that scale. But you can also type this in. Like I could put 6.4 and it's a lower one, but it's still on that. But if I take this down, let's say to a 5, then it'll put me down there. And then when I click save, it populates and now it'll say I've graded 1 out of 5 people on this assignment. And now I can just advance on to the next person. I could look at what they've said. In this case, this is not the correct thing, obviously. And I could say, please resubmit. And then that could be an example there. I could see other things. I could jump to someone. I think if it's orange, that means, yeah, so there's another post here. This one hasn't been graded yet. This one is just a reply post. So you can see that in the context of the full discussion. So they were replying to someone else's post. In a forum, you'll want to be grading someone once they've made that primary post that addresses the questions in the prompt, not just the reply post. So that's a little bit about how to grade on discussions with the rubrics. Now I wanted to go on and show you on something that is an assignment, and also on how you can mark up an assignment to give more detailed feedback. So here's an assignment that has more detailed feedback as an option that you can do because it's an uploaded document. So grading it works a similar way using SpeedGrader that it does to grading discussions, but the main difference is that instead of getting a preview of the discussion, you get a preview of the document. This is a PDF that was created of whatever the student uploaded. Typically, it should be accurate as to what they had initially uploaded. However, if there are some formatting issues on it, you may need to download the original, which you could do by clicking that download link over there in the upper left. And then that will just pop up. In this case, it looks like that already was a, I thought there was a way to download the original on that. Okay, so downloading that downloads the marked up version of it. If you want to see the submitted file, what was originally submitted, the link is over there on the far right. So I just wanted to mention that because if there were formatting issues, that could be more common on PowerPoint or Excel documents. As well as adding comments below, which I showed you on the discussions, you can also add annotations. So you have tools for that here. Like you can highlight something, and then you can add a comment. You can also type directly on the document. And if you're going to do this, I would say something like see comments and document, so they're aware to review that, and then you just click submit to submit that comment. So the rubric that we use for discussions looks a little bit different than the one for assignments. So this is the one for assignments. It's generally always the same, but you should review it regardless as you're grading. And it has the criteria for the different levels here. So you can go through and you can apply those. And then you would click save. And then that populates the grade right up to there. And then I could advance through. And this is another individual. In this case, just for example, I was doing the same file. Notice this is actually the plagiarism checker here showing this is 100% plagiarized. So we have a plagiarism checker tool that checks submitted assignments. It's not always accurate, but it's something that can occasionally be useful. However, you wouldn't want to report to people that their assignment was plagiarized unless you had first followed our plagiarism process, which we discussed in the policies and procedures presentation. I just wanted to show you that that's where the indication of it shows up in our system. And so that's a few things that you can do on grading. I wanted to show you that we also have the option for a comments library. And so in the comments library, you could put things like this assignment has not yet been submitted, so you exceed 0, but you can still submit and get grade according to our policy. And I can just hit add to library. And now I can just copy that in. And so really something like that about unsubmitted assignments, I would think might be one of the most useful ways in which you could use this. Aside from that, you can use it to start your feedback to people, but since you're supposed to give substantive and unique comments to each student on their papers, you wouldn't want stock reply to be the only thing that you would be saying to people that have submitted a full paper. So that's how to use the comments library. And that concludes the main things that I wanted to show you about the grading. So again, once you're in the SpeedGrader, that's open in a new tab. So you can close that out. You can also just go back to the gradebook if you want to review and see what you've just graded. So one thing that's important to note compared to how things were in our previous system Populi is that the assignments won't be in order by week. Everything that's an assignment comes before the discussions. So if you want to see everything that you've graded so far, you just have to bear in mind to look through to get those. The other thing you can do though is you can add a filter by assignment group. If you just wanted to look at the discussions, for example, and see how things were on that, or you could do it by assignments. And there's typically going to be these different categories in the course: assignments, discussion forums, live meetings, typically two, and tests and quizzes, sometimes midterm and a final. And so that's what I want to show you with regards to the grading. Now, on the other way to communicate with students is through the inbox. So this is a way to send personal messages back and forth with the students, alternative to the cityvision.edu email. It's not a new email address for you, but it's a private communication service inside of Canvas. There's a video that Canvas has that goes over how to use the inbox in detail, so I won't cover all the things it does, but I wanted to show you how any messages you've received will show on the side, just like it would in a program like Outlook. So I can click on this, I can see the details of this message. I could reply to this individual. And then it'll just show in this email thread. This was the one that was originally sent, and this is the most recently sent in this particular thread. And if there were other ones, they would show on there as well. Now there's also a way to write messages. So these are the two courses in which I am enrolled, so I can do it in either of those courses. So you just select the course, you can go into the address book, you can contact everyone, you can contact all the teachers, some of the teachers, and you can contact all the students. If there are course sections, you can contact based on the course section. So that could be useful because we'll have sections assigned specifically to the students that you're grading. So for example, I could contact all the students and I could type in a message subject and then click send an individual message to each recipient, and that'll go off then to all the students. I can just hit cancel on that here. So another thing that I wanted to show you in terms of communication on a course, I go back a minute, is that in our previous system, Populi, we had a bulletin board, and in Canvas we have announcements which serve the same purpose, and our expectations are that at least one of the faculty is going to have at least one announcement to the students each week, and that at least the first 2 weeks we'd want to have a video announcement. So I'll show on how you could do that as well. But just to write a text announcement, you can either go through this announcements tab and then click on that plus to create an announcement, or if I go back, I can click new announcement, and I can go in here and I can put in a title, and I could I'm just going to do this so you can see what it looks like. So you put it in the body, and that's going to show in the text. Always keep this post to all sections. Delay posting, this could potentially be useful if you wanted to have them set up in advance for the 8 weeks of your course. The weekly announcements, in that case, it'd be a basic introduction. Obviously, sometimes it's good to have announcements each week that respond to what's going on in the course as it progresses, but ones that are just summarizing what's going on in each week, you could do this to set them up in advance. You just need to have a calendar in front of you so you could figure out when to post those. So for example, for the January 2022 spring 1 term, there's like Monday the 10th, Monday the 17th, and so on. Now, another option that you could do is allow users to comment, and that is one that I think you should probably select, because that way students can reply. They could ask questions of what you say in there, and that just makes it more interactive and helps to build faculty presence. It's also how our previous system popularly worked. So I'll click save on that, and then that's how it shows up on the announcements tab. But you should bear in mind, students in the course will not see this particular tab. Instead, where they will see the announcements is on the home tab. But then they could go in and they could reply to that announcement. You can see that discussion going on there. So another thing, now that I've finished all the things I wanted to show you within a course, there's just two final things I want to show you, and they're both related to your account settings. The first is to add a profile picture. So you click on account, then on profile. I can click on this little pencil icon here. You could have it take a picture using your webcam, or you can upload a picture. So you can upload a document, and that's one way to set your photo, which you'll want to have so that students can see that when they're interacting with you in the course. Then also in the notifications section, there's a lot of emails that will get sent to your cityvision.edu email address from Canvas, just to keep you informed of what's going on in the course. If you want to change the frequency with which these emails are sent out, you can do that here. And so, for example, right now, there is an email that is not set to go out when things are submitted, but you could set that to go out. The other one that's probably most relevant is the submission comments. So if you make a comment or just grade something, and then a student replies back on that particular assignment, maybe they're asking a question about the grade, and this will send a daily summary of those things. Also in the discussion section, if someone makes an initial post to that discussion, this new reply is going to get you a daily summary of those. And then, yeah, those are the main ones that I wanted to mention on that. The final thing that I did want to show you then is that you can click on account and then log out in order to log out of Canvas, and it takes you back to our other system, Populi. But the main way in which you would log in to Canvas and work on your courses is the way that I showed you at the beginning of this video from the www.cityvision.edu website. So thanks for going with me on this tour of the functionality of Canvas and how it's best used at City Vision University. We'll be there to support you with any questions at support@cityvision.edu, and we look forward to having you as an instructor with us. Thanks.